Hi there, I'm Beth Stoddard. Welcome. We are glad to see you here today. I am part of the leadership team here at PCC, and I'm the worship coordinator and part of the creative team. And I'm really glad to be here for the follow-up video today. I have a very special guest with me, my friend Susan, who we hear about all the time because she's actually Brian Hughes's wife. This is the Susan. Right?
Right.
But you're more than just Brian's wife.
Hopefully, yes.
Yes,
no,
you
yes.
are.
And I also work at the church. Not everybody knows that. I'm the introvert of the family. Brian's the big extrovert. And we have 3 kids, and we are celebrating our second grandchild who was born last week.
Congrats.
Thank
you. That's so cool. We could show you pictures, but we'll do that some other time. Yeah, we will. People ask all the time, are all the stories true?
They are true. Sometimes something will happen at our house, and if the kids are around, they're like, is this going to end up in a message, or this better not end up in a message?
Yeah. Well, we appreciate, I know from working with you for a while that you do so many things behind the scenes here at the church. There's so many things that you have your hands on for the good. And we also know, after we heard Brian's message today, that there's been a lot of behind the scenes work that you've done in his life as well, as he talked about his experience with depression. So Susan is here today to help us understand a little bit more about what it's like to love someone and do life with someone who suffers from depression. So thank you for being willing to talk about that today.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it. I have a few questions here, and we'll just kind of see where this conversation goes. But I wanted to start out by asking you, when did you know something wasn't quite right?
I probably should have seen some little signs, but it felt like just all of a sudden. Like all of a sudden I noticed he's the talkative one. So when he stops talking, then something's wrong. So he didn't want to talk, and he wasn't excited about coming to work. And like PCC is like just the amazing God story. It's always been, we talk about it every day, like how God is working through the church. So when he didn't want to talk about church, and the things that God was doing, I was like, this is not right. This is not you. This is, but really it was the wanting to go to bed early and not wanting to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. He's never been like that. Never. So it just felt like all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, something's wrong.
And how did you process your own feelings during that time? What were you feeling?
I guess I was shocked at first, like something's wrong. We've got to fit, your moms are fix-its. We want to fix things for kids, for family. So I was like, okay, when he didn't want to talk about himself either and what he was feeling, then I was like, we might need some help here.
Mm-hmm.
We might need to do something.
And so you thought, we might need some help. We might need to do something. So what happened? What did you do?
So I think every personality is different. And so for him, it wasn't a, hey, I'm kidnapping you and I'm taking you to the doctor. Mm-hmm. It was like, hi, I think we need to consider going to see someone and seeing if this is a depression.
Was he resistant to that?
No, surprisingly, he wasn't. I think some people are, it's a stigma for some people. But I think he knew that he was in trouble and he needed some help.
Mm-hmm. Did that feel risky for you to move into that space, to bring that up? Was it frightening or scary or?
I think in the moment you're just all wrapped up in, the person that I love is sick and needs help. Yeah. And just like if they fell and broke their leg, you would take them to the emergency room, you'd take them to the doctor, and I was just all wrapped up into, okay, something's not right. You're not feeling well. We've got to go to the doctor.
Yeah. So you went to the doctor, and he shared with us in the message that he decided to start taking some medicine for that, and then he began counseling as well. Started seeing a therapist, and you were part of that, right?
I was. I think for him it was a little bit of security for having me there. It was great for me to kind of walk through that with him because I could see how he was processing things, and we could process it together. But, like, so the broken leg example. If somebody breaks their leg, you take them to the emergency room. You don't just drop them off and say, hope y'all figure that out. You're there with them, and you take them to get their medicine, and you take them to their follow-up therapy, and you encourage them to do their therapy at home. So I just, it was like that for me. It was like, hey, this person is sick. You can't see it on the outside, but it's there on the inside. And you walk your loved one through that just like you would something else.
It sounds like you're describing a time when all of your focus, or at least a lot of your focus, had to be on getting him well.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, people share sometimes when they're honest that can be really frustrating. When someone they love is depressed, they're trying to get treatment, and all the attention has to go to getting them well, that they deal with feelings of frustration or even anger. Mm-hmm. And then I've heard people say then they feel like a horrible person because how can they be frustrated because the person's sick? But that's a really weird space to be in. Did you experience any of that?
There were times when I was frustrated. I think everybody gets to the point where they're like, why do I have to go through this? Like, I wish this would just go away. Or why did they have to get depressed? Couldn't they just see the bright side of things? But, when the doctor said you need medicine, then it just somehow it clicked to me, oh, he's sick. Mm-hmm. Okay. So just like moms take care of their kids and they do whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. And when somebody in your family is sick, then you do what it takes to get them to get well. Yeah.
I'll just say personally, because we've been friends for a long time, there were a few people that were close to you guys that you leaned on. I remember a time that you had to go out of town, and Susan called me and she said, I'm going to be gone for a couple of days. I need you to check on him. And we did. And there was a moment in that weekend that he was not okay. And so my husband and I went to the house, showed up, and I think you had called me to say, you sensed that something wasn't quite right. So you really had to lean on your village a little bit in that time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have walked through it alone or with their immediate family, but why would you want to if you have friends that you can lean on?
I guess there's a stigma. A lot of people don't want to talk about it because it feels embarrassing.
Right.
Somewhat. Yeah. I am curious as to how you could say now with hindsight, because Brian's gotten through that season and he's better, he's found some healing. So when you look back on that now, how can you see God working in your own life as someone who loves someone who went through that illness? What did you learn about yourself and your own spiritual journey?
Well, I learned that I was stronger than I thought that I could be, which I think is probably something common when people go through things. I will say that I hope that I don't have to go through, or that we don't have to go through something like that again. I'm realistic in that, sure, it could happen. I can look back on it now and say I'm glad that we did. I think our family is closer. I think we're closer. And Brian's so authentic about, he's obviously sharing with the church, and during that time we shared with immediate friends. But since then, he's been able to help other people who've struggled with that. So that's where I see how God has used that and brought some good out of that.
Mm. I think, again, from a friend's perspective, I think my observation is that it did make your relationship so much stronger, that you went through such a dark valley together and came out and probably really deepened the intimacy in your marriage because of where you went. Can you share with us a few things now? If you were able to give advice, which you are, we have an audience here, is there anything that you would stress to folks in terms of advice if they are facing this on their own? Someone they love has a mental illness or has some depression. Mm-hmm. What would you tell them?
I absolutely don't be afraid to seek help. Like medical help. So the doctors say depression, there is a chemical imbalance, and we would not hesitate if someone had some other kind of medical issue. If you have an infection or something like that, you go get medicine. So I would just say, go get help. And if you need it for yourself, go get help. Rely on friends, like we talked about. That you got to take care of yourself, and not feel guilty about that, whatever that looks like. what else? We were talking about it before we started filming, but I think not taking it personally. So I didn't do anything to cause this. He didn't do anything to cause this. Like, I wasn't going to take it. I couldn't take it personally.
That must be hard, though. I mean, when somebody is depressed and you can't cheer them up, for me, I just think that might be like the hardest part. Like, what can I do? I'm not enough to make you happy.
I think just being there,
Mm.
you know, we all have had friends or family members who've walked through something that we've never walked through before. And we know what it's like to, as Angie Frame says, show up and just be there.
That's great. You are so wise.
I think you're wise.
Well, I think you're wise. I think you're wise. I do know that in all things, God works together for good, including really deep times of despair and darkness and even this depression. Everybody's story is unique and individual, but some principles apply. And we want to be able to help and support you in that. So first of all, know that you're not alone, that you've got pastors here to help you. You've got people who have gone through this. You've got people like Susan who've loved folks who've gone through it. So your church is here to help you. We also have some resources available on our website of different places that you can go for counseling, for support and encouragement, things that you can read. We hope that you'll take advantage of that. But overall, we just know that God is working and God sees and God knows and he is with you. Susan, thank you so much. Thank you on behalf of I get a little weepy, but on behalf of this church and what God's done here and the people that love you and love Brian, thank you for hanging in there and supporting him.
Thank you.
Because we wouldn't be where we are today without the journey that he's been on. We're deeply appreciative of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being part of this and let us know how we can serve you. Have a great day.